So I'm John Dawson. I farm at Bleakbank along with my son William, wife Judith. It's a little family farm on the slopes of Ingleborough. We milk a few cows, we keep a few hundred sheep. So the scheme on Ingleborough, there's some money appeared with our Upland Common, and they turned up to try and raise the profile of commons grazings and how commons work, how people work on the commons, how they feed the nation. Some money arrived at the vets and they said, let's look into this scab. Scab is on the increase in the area nationally. Well, it's been right constructive really. It's helped neighbours work together. There's talk of a mobile dipper coming into the area and doing most of Ingleborough in a day, things like that. So on a gather, there's 12 active graziers on Ingleborough and there's 3 gathering points. It's 3,500 acres. We have an allotted time to be at the top of the fell, which today was going to be 9 o'clock on top of the fell. It takes us an hour to get to the top of the fell and an hour and a half to come back as we fan out and bring all the sheep down with us. There's 3 gathering points, one over there, one at Bleakbank and one at Clapham. By the time we've shedded everybody's sheep off and got everybody's sheep home to where they should be, it'll be mid to late afternoon probably, depending on what's gone on, how clear the weather is. It's a hefted fell, all the sheep are hefted. That means that the sheep live on their own part of the fell. So that's quite important as well. That's a historic thing, the cultural heritage of commoning, of grazing. The sheep on Ingleborough, the Bleakbank flock, they're part of the farm. They belong here. But yeah, working with the vets has been good. They came with all the statistics about how scab's on the increase as people don't dip and injections don't work or not effectively. No, we didn't think we had a problem at all. The blood test proves that they have been exposed.
So my name's Karen Swindlehurst. I'm one of the vets at Dalehead in Settle, North Yorkshire. We at Dalehead have been involved with the Ingleborough commoners for over 3 years now on scab control. The first couple of years it was through the National For Flock's Sake scheme, which was overseen by the Mourden, and in the past 12 months we've had funding from the Foundation for Common Land. There was 2 main goals to the project. Firstly, to measure the level of scab. We did this using a blood sample that's only been commercially available for a couple of years now, and we measured the antibodies to the scab mites. That tells us when the sheep have been exposed to scab before we had to wait till we had itchy sheep, which occurs weeks to months further down the line after they've been exposed. Another goal was to destigmatise scab. We only need to sample a small percentage of the flock because scab is so very infectious. The flocks that have been grazing in Ingleborough haven't shown a very high level of scab at all, and I believe that's because the vast majority of the graziers are actually dipping, and the coordinated gather days means that all this is done within quite a short period of time. Unfortunately, we have got increasing resistance in the UK of sheep scab to the ML injectables that we have available. And I believe that's one of the main reasons that we are seeing an increase in the number of cases of scab in the UK. The current thinking is that plunge dipping with golden fleece is the most effective treatment. When it's carried out properly, dipping is really effective, and that means the whole flock is dipped within a few weeks of your neighbours. Scab mites live on the skin of the fleece, and they also live in the sheep's ear canal. It means that the sheep have got to be fully immersed, they've got to be plunged in the dip bath for it to be effective. The chemical has got to have a contact time with the fleece for at least a minute, and the sheep has got to be dipped under as well. That's why it's called plunge dipping. Showering doesn't come anywhere near, and the real concerns within the industry that we're selecting for more resilient mites when we don't dip correctly. So the outcome of all this work is hopefully to slow down or hopefully prevent resistance developing, minimise the vet costs and production losses and negate any environmental impact of chemicals through strategic careful use. We all want healthy stock, after all they are integral in sustaining the landscapes and the ecology of our commons.